The journey on historic Route 66 finally begins today in the great state of Illinois. It will be roughly 300 miles to St. Louis, but it'll take us a whole week as we're going to try and stop at every roadside attraction along the way and explore great towns like Joliet, Pontiac, Bloomington, and Springfield, the state capital. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. In this first installment, we are only doing the first 45 miles to Joliet. There's that much to see. Buckle up, because this great American road trip begins next.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV.
Well, today we begin the long journey on Route 66, but our first point of interest is in the city, so we're gonna take an Uber to it. Chicago is such a unique and instantly recognizable city. Make sure you watch my previous videos here, one from back almost 10 years ago and one from last year. And we're back. We were here two days ago, and they're closed on Mondays and Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, and they are open. Let's check it out. I mean, they have the neon sign to prove they're legit, right? Lou Mitchell's has been a staple here since 1923, so 102 years and counting. Oh, here we go. I think we're gonna have the Eggs Benedict. But they have an extensive menu here. And street view. And check out the back of the menu. It's Route 66 themed. We're starting here, and I don't know when, but at some point we're gonna make it here. Oh yeah. No, I have no idea what this is, but I'll give it a try. It's like a donut. Yeah. Eggs Benedict. Let's dig in. They have all the Route 66 signs up on the wall, so yeah, very cool. There it is, 100 years, as of 2 years ago. All right, let's do it. Well, that was certainly feeling and a great start to our Route 66 road trip. So let's go pick up the RV and hit the road. After that hearty meal, I think we're ready to take on the mother road. I have a bunch of points of interest marked on my map here. We'll see what we get to and what we don't. But first, we gotta drive by that, first mile, right? By Michigan Avenue and Adams. That's the post-1955 alignment, so let's do it. If you missed the previous video, we spent 2 nights here at the McCormick Center. It is $40 to dry camp. Not glamorous by any means, but very convenient. You can reserve online and they send you a QR code, or you can just pay on the spot. By the way, watch the previous video in which we explored the city in a little more depth and actually walked most of the first mile of Route 66. Yes, we're actually driving our small RV into the heart of Chicago. Not for the faint of heart. Here we are. There's a sign on the right and the sign on the left. We are officially at the beginning of Route 66. Driving this time. This is so exciting.
We have a landmark coming up we saw on foot previously, the Berghof. Next time we visit, we have to eat there. Oh, the flamingo sculpture. Very cool to see all this once again from the RV. It is interesting how the city subtly starts to change as you leave the loop and start going into the suburbs. Coming up, one of the first roadside attractions we're probably not gonna be able to stop at. It is called Lulu's Hot Dogs. First, we're still full from that breakfast, and second, I'm not sure about the parking situation. Oh, and they also have ribs and sausages. Actually, we could have parked. Even though Pelicruiser is just 25 feet, I still don't feel comfortable parking certain places. This green area is Douglas Park, originally established in 1869. That is a cool-looking building. It's a church. Our next point of interest is not currently open, but the last time it was called Castle Car Wash, and it was at some point Al Capone's hideout. It is here, on the right. Let me see if I can go around the block and stop for a minute.
That's the castle garage right there.
I'm just gonna see if I can just pull over for a minute and walk towards the garage, which was built in 1925. Ooh, those roaring 20s. I can imagine Al himself parking his 1928 bulletproof Cadillac right there. Here, I think this will do for the 30 seconds I'm going to be here. Illy is staying in Pelicruiser just in case we need to move it in a pinch.
Alright, let's check it out real quick. Yeah, this is it. The Castle Car Wash. Here's the historic marker.
Oh, I just realized that this side is in Spanish. Anyway, it is basically the history of Ogden Avenue and its impact on the local community.
That's it.
The building was originally a gas station until 1980 when it became Castle Car Wash. It seems to be permanently closed. Al Capone's tenure here as Chicago's most famous gangster lasted less than 10 years. It's incredible he left such a huge mark on the city's history. Anyway, onward we go. Leaving the city behind, we are now about to enter a suburb called Cicero. We're going to make a detour here on Costner Avenue and take a break at this large shopping mall called Hawthorne Works. But this is just not any random shopping mall. There's a story to it. And this seems like a pretty nice residential neighborhood here. We're still in Chicago proper here, but not for long. As soon as we drive under that railroad trestle, we are now in Cicero. Here on the left is the mall I was talking about. There, that water tower behind the shopping mall. That's where we really want to go. I'm going to check satellite view to see if there's a way to get back there. From 1905 to 1983, this was the site of a huge factory owned by Western Electric. And the water tower, well, that is all that remains.
As the story goes, this whole area, this whole huge shopping mall used to be the Hawthorne Works factory. Huge factory that used to make everything like, home furniture. And also, as the story goes, Al Capone and his crew, they had a shootout with the police somewhere in front of this factory, and nowadays all that remains is the water tower right there. It's another historic Route 66 site to see. Yeah, it is in ruins. Let's get a little closer. I'm glad I was able to park right here in the loading dock, kind of. And if you see the towers of the shopping mall, they kind of imitate the architecture of the water tower. Let me tell you something, I wouldn't mind doing some urban exploring here.
I'm sure we'll get plenty of opportunities to explore abandoned buildings, especially farther west.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if there was like a way to go inside, but I guess not.
We continue, looking for unusual spots along the route. But as thorough as we may try to be, there are always places that are just going to slip through the cracks. Some we're going to miss altogether, some might be closed, some may not be worth the detour. But we're definitely gonna try to do our best to hit all the highlights. Here coming up to the left, the Cindy Lynn Motel, opened in 1960 and originally known as the last motel before the city. We blinked and we missed it. Let's see if we can circle around to see it. Eventually, we might realize there are so many of these along the way, it's really not necessary to stop at every single one of them, but it is our first day on the route and it is our first one. Having a police car in front of a hotel is never a good sign, but oh wait, it is just security. I feel much better now. Let's see if we can find parking nearby.
In this urban setting, it's still a little bit of a pain to find parking near these landmarks, but much better than towing the trailer. So this is the motel here. Well, this is it, a Route 66 landmark, right here in the outskirts of Chicago. The Cindy Lynn Motel.
All right, let's continue. This is Ogden Avenue, Route 66, going west-southwest, slowly getting away from the city. There's Henry's Drive-In, yet another one of those classic Route 66 diners. This section at one point was known as Automobile Alley. Ogden Top and Trim is the only business remaining from that era, family-owned since 1919. Coming up, and if you blink you might miss it, is Cigars and Stripes Barbecue, with a huge muffler man up on the roof. We're now at a town called Berwyn, although it is all part of the same huge metropolitan area. At least the route is very well marked. We're supposed to make a left here, but we're gonna keep on going on Ogden for another mile or so. There's something I want to see. Besides, I can really use a break after all this city driving with the RV. This is called Hoffman Tower, and it was built in 1908. Named after a local brewer, George Hoffman Jr., who built the tower and the park. And it is time for my espresso, earlier than usual today.
Well, what do you know, it started raining. And well, this is not exactly part of Route 66. I thought I'd stop by. It's called the Hoffman Tower. Yeah, one thing you can't control is the weather. Yeah, built in 1908 for George Hoffman Jr. in style fashioned after European castles. Let's go down to the river.
Here we have the swift current of the Des Plaines River and the dam, part of Hoffman's Park, and it is getting chilly.
I came back to the RV to get my hoodie because it is getting chilly. I mean, by Chicago standards, not, but I'm sure it's definitely not cold by Chicago standards. I mean, at some point I have to decide how much I want to deviate from the Route 66, from the route, because like right here, there's Hemingway's birthplace, Frank Lloyd Wright's house. There are many things to see in this area that I don't know how much I want to deviate. We're gonna explore this neighborhood here a little bit. It's supposed to be like an architectural district and whatnot, but that's all I really want to do. And now I'm gonna walk to the middle of this bridge so I can take a picture of the tower back there. And that's it. I think we're gonna continue towards Joliet and park at an RV park there. And we might backtrack tomorrow when the weather is better. Hello there. It doesn't look like the weather is going to improve anytime soon, so we're gonna keep on going, getting our kicks on Route 66.
Even though we're not gonna do the 7-mile detour to see Hemingway's birthplace or Frank Lloyd Wright's studio, I mean, it is almost half an hour one way in Chicago traffic. We're just gonna drive around this Riverside village. It is supposed to have some great architecture, including some Frank Lloyd Wright houses. And then we're gonna get back on the route. This is, by the way, one of the first planned communities in the United States. The Riverside Presbyterian Church here, built around 1879 in the Gothic Revival architectural style. As we approach downtown, we get a glimpse of Town Hall on the right. By the way, very nice downtown. We definitely must return with more time and better weather. Here, also on the right, the Arcade Building, built in 1871. It was an early concept for what we know nowadays as a shopping center. Finally, here on the left, the depot and the water tower. Very cool. Now, let's get back on Route 66 because many more roadside attractions await. What a great looking neighborhood. It is a mixture of nature, residential, industrial, until we get to a town called McCook. Fabulous McCook, Illinois, no less. Eventually, we're forced to join I-55 because there is no Route 66 in this area. Apparently, they paved the interstate right on top of it. This is something that I think will happen once in a while since Route 66 has been decommissioned for 40 years now. Our next stop makes me wish I was hungry. Del Rhea's Chicken Basket. I'm just gonna park back here, taking 3 parking spaces.
Let me tell you, I wish I was hungry, but because this is supposed to be one of the best places on Route 66. And fried chicken, and you guys know I love fried chicken, so we'll see. Maybe we can take something to go.
This is one of the few businesses that survived, albeit under new management, when in 1962 I-55 bypassed it. They must be that good, and it's official. They have the Route 66 roadside attraction marker.
Alright, get your chicks on Route 66, I like that.
This may be a sign of things to come on Route 66. Based on previous experiences, I wasn't really expecting all these well-preserved roadside attractions from yesteryear. Thriving businesses that have passed the test of time.
Yeah, they definitely make sure you know you're on the historic Route 66, even though the mother road doesn't really exist. You know, it's broken. You know, we had to take I-55 to get here. Anyway, let's walk inside and see what it looks like.
Even though I told her we weren't hungry, the lady in charge allowed me to do some filming inside.
This is really cool.
Here they have some memorabilia on the wall, and on this side they have the tap room. Oh, this is pretty cool. And they have some memorabilia as well on the walls, and Route 66 signs galore, as might be the case in many establishments on the road ahead.
Let me tell you, I'm tempted to have an IPA at that bar.
We continue on I-55 towards Joliet. Coming up, we have yet another Route 66 roadside attraction. It's none other than White Fence Farm Restaurant. This being the original location. I really wanted to eat at all these places, but there is a reality. There's only so much you can eat. Originally established in 1920 by Jack Peabody, and he ran it until his death in 1946. The current iteration dates back to 1954, family operated, and I really wanted to go inside and see what it looks like, but we really want to get to Joliet. Maybe next time we're in the area we'll do a comparison between this one and Del Rhea's. They both claim to have the best fried chicken on Route 66 in Illinois. Joliet is the first town that feels truly outside of Chicago. Like we've crossed that urban-rural boundary, although if you look at it on the map, it could be considered the last town before we truly leave the metropolitan area. Getting a little bit of traffic here as we approach Joliet. There's the famous rich and creamy ice cream stand with the Blues Brothers on top. Yes, this town's claim to fame may be in part thanks to the 1980 Blues Brothers movie. Alright, let's stop at the Route 66 park for a few minutes. We may not get a chance to come back tomorrow.
Oh, here we are arriving in Joliet, and this is our first attraction here, Route 66 Park. We're probably gonna explore most of Joliet tomorrow, but I mean, this was along the way. Art in the park. It's called The Spirit of the River from 2002. Check it out.
Here we have some signs about the town and its famous prison. I think I'm gonna get an ice cream.
Well, we got the medium cone. This is a twist dipped in chocolate. Mmm. That's rich.
And creamy.
And we're gonna sit down at one of these picnic tables. This is dripping. Oh yeah, that was very creamy, very delicious. Now we're gonna walk on this trail a little bit here because I think I saw like a ginormous Route 66 sign somewhere when we were driving here. Here we have more art. Let's see. And the view. There it is, the Joliet Prison. We're gonna see that tomorrow.
Yes, that's it. Can't wait to explore it. I'm sure most of these towns along Route 66 are going to be embracing the Mother Road and milking it for all it's worth. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
This is, of course, the sign where you would take a selfie like we just did. Route 66 sign back there with the Blues Brothers. Let's keep going. Let's keep walking on this trail and let's see what else we can see. Here we are. Get your kicks. It would be cool to see it at night because it is neon. Yes, yet another Route 66 sign. Shall we keep count of how many we see? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe one of you guys will. All right, let's go back to the ice cream stand. Let's go back to the RV. We're staying at the local casino tonight just because we need water. We want to take a long shower.
Yes, if there is one negative about Peli Cruiser, and there are several, the freshwater tank is tiny. Only 26 gallons. I think maybe I can add a second tank eventually. It must be mandatory to have a Route 66 sign around here, and an old gas pump for that matter, or two.
Well, this is where we're going to be staying at the Hollywood Casino here in Joliet. And it's like $50 a night, which seems steep for water and electric, but we're still fairly close to Chicago, so yeah, there's a dump station. Luckily, we have like a pretty large gray tank here in Peli Cruiser. Yeah, there's dandelions everywhere. And yeah, we've got partial hookups. We may or may not go to the casino to have something to eat. But like in Vegas, what happens at the casino stays at the casino. See you tomorrow on the Mother Road. Tomorrow we're gonna explore Joliet. I wanna take a moment to tell you about our sponsor for this video, Liquified, the best RV tank treatment in the industry, created by Matt, an RVer, for us RVers. And you, of course, you know Matt of Matt's RV Reviews, right? Prime pooping position. Exactly. So this summer, they're having this great deal. It's called the Summer of Bundles. These are limited edition combos for maximum freshness, 9 of them, designed to keep your tanks odor-free and the sensors spotless all season long, because, this is the most important item, right? You want to keep your tank odor-free. But they also have, the tank and sensor cleaner, very important, because sometimes they do get dirty and they misread your tank's capacity fullness. And then you also need to keep your toilet clean, right? So they have an RV toilet bowl cleaner. And these products are formulated to work together to give you a better experience. And when you buy these combos, you save money because you end up paying less than if you bought the products individually. And these products are proudly made in Elkhart, Indiana, the RV capital of the world. So I'm gonna put a link in the video description and a QR code somewhere around here so you can take advantage of this great deal. And I want to thank Matt and Liquified for sponsoring this video.
This RV park is almost completely empty. Let's pay a visit to the dump station. Well, this is kind of different. I guess you just stick the hose in there. I mean, there's no thread for a secure connection. Yeah, that is certainly different. Oh well, when in Rome, huh? Of course, right on cue, we've got rain.
Alright, fresh water is full. Holding tanks are empty. By the way, unusual setup here for that dump station. First time I see that approach, at least in the United States. Let's go back to Joliet. I don't know exactly, how do you pronounce it? Joliet? Joliet? First we want to go to the historic prison, which it says temporarily closed on Google Maps, but it may be a seasonal thing. So we're going there first.
This castle-like building here on the right is the Joliet Central High School, built in 1901 and expanded over the years. It's a pretty impressive building. There it is, the Old Joliet Prison, opened in 1858. The building on the right, the Women's Prison, from 1896. It was originally known as the Illinois State Penitentiary. It has appeared in movies like The Blues Brothers and TV series like Prison Break. Here's the main entrance featured in the Blues Brothers movie. I think I made a wrong turn here. It says vendors and employees. I think the tourist entrance is on the other side. Yeah, like the Mandalorian says, this is the way.
Well, here we are. This is, of course, the Old Joliet Prison. Most famous for that movie, The Blues Brothers.
Let's go to the visitor center and buy our ticket for the self-guided tour. It is indeed open. The visitor center is housed at the former front gate house built in 1947. This is where the staff and the visitors entered, and hopefully got out as well.
Well, here we go. And the sun's coming out. It was just out. Looks like the weather is turning for the better. It's $22 for a self-guided tour, so we have to walk to the entrance and then, see what trouble we can get into.
The prison was opened from 1858 to 2002, so relatively recently. And this is the East Gate, where our tour begins. They give you a map with a suggested route and descriptions of what you're looking at. This gate, or Sallyport, is one of only 3 entrances into the 6-acre complex.
This is the prison industries building.
Here in these buildings is where prisoners would learn things like repair skills, and then they were put to work, either building mattresses for the prison system or the private sector. Yeah, some businesses even set up shop inside the prison.
Yeah, apparently this was the automotive shop. You know, they taught the prisoners how to fix cars and whatnot. I hear creepy sounds.
I kind of like the fact that nothing is really restored. It's like they abandoned the buildings in 2002 and it just stayed that way.
Alright, let's continue. Let's see what's next.
Coming up, the burnt district. Apparently between 2013 and 2017, when the prison was closed, 4 buildings burned to the ground as a result of arson. Let's see what it looks like. The buildings that burned were the automotive shop, the mattress factory, records warehouse, and the bathhouse. Look at all these old file cabinets. Oh, it's a mess in here.
This is... oh, more industry here. This must be the cistern in front of us, but let's see, this used to be a mattress factory.
Not a whole lot to see.
Yeah, cool. So they built all kinds of stuff here. This is so great. I'm so glad I decided to tour the old prison.
This is the cistern, the original water source.
Yeah, it was originally a natural spring, then they turned it into a well, but the cells themselves didn't have running water until 1940. So no running water for the inmates.
This tower and the network of tunnels connecting it to the armory and the other towers were built during World War II.
Apparently this building was the fire department. Let's check it out.
Too bad it was closed by the time those fires happened. The fire department building eventually became storage for tools and chemicals, as well as a recreation space. Very cool to see all these buildings with the paint peeling off the walls. And they seem to want to keep it that way.
Let's check this one out. This is what comes next. Well, this building doesn't really have a description on the map, but it's the yard department.
And this is the honor dorm, originally a warehouse. It went on to house the well-behaved prisoners, dormitory style. It also appeared in the Blues Brothers movie.
Here we have the basketball court. Let's check this out real quick.
Can you imagine all the inmates sitting at these picnic tables, playing basketball in this court? I guess they had outside showers.
Yeah, that back there is where the well-behaved prisoners would stay. It was more like a dorm room kind of style place. Let's go to the vocational shops.
Here's a modern cafeteria that seems to be closed at this time of the year.
The Blues Brothers.
In the early years, these buildings were manufacturing shops, which were eventually converted to vocational centers to teach the inmates different skills and trades. Unfortunately, many of these buildings are closed, but we can still take a peek inside. Look at all that barbed wire, which reminds me, there may be a barbed wire museum in our future. Let's check out the library.
Yeah, look at that. Interesting.
Yes, this was the library. And as much as I like the look of the prison as it was abandoned in 2002, an interpretive sign or two explaining what we're looking at would be welcome. Were these reading rooms, for example, or offices? I don't know. More research shall go into this.
Let me tell you, I don't know if it is the wind outside, but I hear all kinds of strange noises in here. I'm thinking. They say this place is haunted. Check it out. No smoking in the library. That's one of those old air conditioners, right?
You think it might rain? By the way, that building with the copper roof seems to be the chapel.
Yeah, we're getting our Route 66 trip off to a great start. This is really cool. This was the yard, pretty big yard. And this would have been the laundry. Can we go in? Is there any way to go in? Probably not. Look at those striped prisoner suits. Yeah, this is the chapel right here. I don't think it is open. Oh, bummer. Let's see if we can take a peek inside.
There's really not a whole lot to see. Actually, now that it is no longer a chapel, that would make a really good events venue. Let's keep going. I want to see some prison cells.
Well, this was the school, apparently. Let's take a peek inside.
Yeah, again, not a whole lot to see.
Right, this is the west cell block right here. And you can go in.
I guess they save some of the best parts for last in this self-guided tour.
Even the air smells different in here. Yeah, not much to it.
The West Cell House was the protective custody wing.
Check this one out. This one has the bunk beds. Imagine sharing small space with someone else. I bet you become quite intimate. Yeah, I'm waiting for my glasses to adapt to the darker lighting in here, you know. So I have these transitions which are not always, I mean, I can't see. It's pretty dark in here.
Look at all this paint peeling off. It makes it look even creepier.
There's the second floor up there. That was extremely cool to see the jailhouse and the cells and all that. So the cell blocks. That's the visiting room.
This was the administrative building. The warden lived on the second level, the guards on the third. As we walked towards the hospital, it was bound to happen.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, big downpour. I had to run to the dining hall for shelter.
Well, that was a quick rain shower we got there. Well, let's take another look at the dining hall because
that's where I sheltered from the storm. It is one of the newest buildings from 1987, and it is still raining a little bit. I wonder what's up with that bird up there. Here we are. It certainly looks more modern than the rest of the prison, and we've got murals all around.
Roof does have a leak.
This is the other side. This must be another one of those burned down buildings. Before entering this building, let's just take a look around. This is the North Segregation Building, also known as the Tombstones, the oldest building from 1858. It was also death row from 1925 to 1947.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
At the very least, efficient.
this was actually the first structure built here in the prison. The original cell from 1858. This would have been the power plant.
The powerhouse from 1893.
Check that out. Generators.
Finally, the captain's court.
I guess that concludes our tour here. The Joliet Historic Prison.
Here's the view from across the street. You can almost imagine Jake Blues coming out of that gate. Even though this is not directly related to our Route 66 trip, I am so glad I did it. And that's kind of the plan. See some points of interest in all these cities along the route.
Well, that was an awesome self-guided tour. Now let's continue exploring. It looks like it might rain again, on and off.
All that walking around has made me hungry, so how about some late breakfast? We're really starving here, and we have a lot of stuff that came with us all the way from Miami, and some of it is about to go bad. We haven't really been cooking all that much on this trip, and we may not cook all that much for the rest of the trip. I mean, there's a lot of good food along Route 66, so I'm using all the bacon, all the eggs, all the ham and all the cheese we have left. The idea is to visit the Ironworks historic site, but traffic has completely collapsed. Maybe one of the drawbridges is open. Plan B. We managed to come around and, yeah, the drawbridge is up. It is completely collapsed. The bridge must be broken. I don't know what we're going to do.
You have any change? You have a cigarette?
Oh no, he's gonna get run over. Tell you what, I'm gonna go around. There's gotta be another way. Tell you what, this might not work either. What's going on in this town today?
Traffic has entirely collapsed here in Joliet. There's, all the drawbridges are open, I guess. I don't know what to do.
Finally, this bridge seems to be open. This is the Jackson Street Bridge, one of 4 rare Scherzer rolling lift bascule bridges in Joliet, spanning the Des Plaines River. Yep, the other bridge definitely seems to be stuck. We're finally home free. Let's find parking. There are quite a few points of interest here in downtown along Route 66. We're gonna park at the museum parking.
Well, parked here at the museum, and let's see where the museum is, actually. I think that's it. There we go. Route 66 roadside attraction. There we go. This is Route 66 through Illinois. And we are here in Joliet. We still have a long way to go. Check it out. The Blues Brothers. Very cool.
Yeah, Illinois so far has the best interpretive signs.
Route 66. The Mother Road.
This is the Joliet Area Historical Museum. Let's check it out.
Here we have another one of these Route 66 signs, so we know we're on the right track, right? Getting ready for the 100th anniversary here.
Here we have some items made in Joliet. Let's check out the Route 66 section. Oh, look at that engine compartment. Such simplicity. And here we have John Belushi hanging out with the prisoners. The first part of the museum is free. Now this one is $10 per person, and it goes more in depth into the history of the area, Joliet in particular. And along the route, we'll find out each town has their own local history, and they are very proud of it. Here we have a star projector and its control console.
We're just getting started on this trek. We're here in Joliet and
let's just say we still have a long way to go. It'll be an epic trip.
all the way out here. I haven't decided yet whether I'm gonna do the Santa Fe loop through New Mexico or go straight. Probably gonna do this one just because it is a more scenic route. Some of these attractions like this or this we've kind of seen in, or even this we've kind of seen in previous trips, but now we're gonna see it all.
Oh, Joliet's unsung hero, John Hobolt. It is a very well-made museum and definitely larger than I was expecting. Now on the third floor we get a view from above and realize it is not really that large, it's just very well laid out. We could go on forever. There's a lot to see here, and it is our first museum on Route 66, the first of many, I'm sure. And they have exhibits in every nook and cranny about the progress, the achievements, and things specific to this town. I realize this goes beyond the scope of our trip here, but it is so well made and so impeccably maintained that I thought it was worth a stop. If you're pressed for time, maybe I would do just the Route 66 area. It would have been nice to go outside.
I guess we can see the terrace. I got myself a t-shirt with this logo on it. Might as well get one from each state, right? All right, let's walk around town a little bit. There's a spot here where the Lincoln Highway meets Route 66. There's a famous theater, and I'm sure we'll have more photo opportunities like this. Oh, here we go. It figures everything is under construction. But here is the very spot where Route 66 and the Lincoln Highway intersect. Even though it's all under construction, you know. This is one of those spots that we had to stop at. And now there's a famous theater over there, and I think that's all we're gonna do in Joliet. It doesn't seem very lively, this downtown area. Yeah, big time construction happening here in downtown. By the way, that architecture, that looks kind of like the jail. But this is what I wanted to see over here. is the Rialto Square Theater. Oh, that's a beautiful facade. And as I said, according to what I read somewhere, they do offer tours, but it's like by appointment only, you have to call.
It would have definitely been cool to book a tour here. I'm gonna go inside and find out. By the way, look at all this exquisite detail. Here's the old box office kiosk, and it is certainly beautiful inside.
Yeah, they do offer tours, but it's only on Tuesdays. Today is Thursday, and we're not gonna stick around for 5 other days here, so I'm gonna start walking back to the car. Actually, let's walk one more block. Let's see what this is. Oh, check it out, record store. Among all these construction sites, there it is. Great sign of Welcome to Joliet, City of Champions. And that used to be the Joliet Diner. I don't think it exists anymore. They have the cool neon sign to prove it. According to the book that I'm reading, which is only from 2019 and it's already outdated, this used to be a great spot to eat here on the Mother Road, but it has been permanently closed. Victim of COVID, perhaps. Anyway, let's go back to the car, and we still have a couple of points of interest on the way to Pontiac, which is where we're gonna sleep tonight.
Actually, I almost forgot, but there is one more point of interest here in Joliet that I want to see, and that is the Joliet Iron Works historic site. There is no traffic now. This was the site of an iron manufacturing facility from the late 1800s to the early 1900s.
Well, let's see what this says. Apparently, this is the site of what used to be the second largest steel mill in the country, but I just don't see anything.
I guess I was expecting more.
I guess not a whole lot remains, huh? And I don't even know if I'm at the right place. I guess these are all some ruins back here. That's gotta be it.
Actually, that's not it, but I find it far more interesting.
Actually, that structure behind me looks even more impressive.
I was expecting something like this, an old decaying factory, not just a few concrete slabs. Perhaps it gets better.
Yeah, there's a train. Something is making a lot of noise back there. And I guess this is all part of it. Not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting something more like that other structure in ruins, but I guess this is even more in ruins than that other structure. This is almost like going to one of these ancient sites, you know. If we didn't know it's modern, I could tell you, the ancestral Pueblo people, and you would go like, oh yeah.
All I gotta say is that's some very old concrete.
I think this is the final viewpoint, or at least the final that I'm going to come to. The plant opened in the 1870s. how technology improved over the years. This is a picture from 1943. Let's check that one out and we continue. I think they need to replace some of these interpretive signs just because it's hard to read when you're missing part of the story. Yeah. And even though apparently there's been a decline from its heyday, I hear the sounds of industry back there, so there's still a lot going on here in Joliet. Well, this is a nice view of the prison and the clouds behind. I hope it doesn't rain.
Yes, you can see the prison from here.
Well, so far, Joliet, I didn't have very high expectations to begin with, and it's one of those towns that if it wasn't for Route 66, we may have never visited. But yeah, there's a lot to see here.
I really wonder what that used to be.
Well, it is fascinating, and I find it very interesting to see all these ruins here, everywhere. Wouldn't it be better to tear all this down and create new industry? You know what I mean? It's not like we were looking at an ancient castle or the ruins of an ancient civilization. This is just decay, right? Let's tear it down and build something better.
Wait, as we leave Joliet, there's one more thing. It is coming up here on the right at this gas station. It is, yes, one more Blues Brothers reference. It is the Bluesmobile with the bullhorn up on the roof. Another classic American roadside attraction. There it is, in more detail. We continue on the route. We're going slow, and there are still many miles ahead in Illinois alone, not to mention the whole route. On the next one, we'll continue on this most iconic American road trip. Wilmington, Pontiac, Bloomington, Lincoln, Springfield, and many smaller towns along the way as we discover the main street of America in its entirety and learn the stories it has to tell. In every mural, museum, and many of the establishments and roadside attractions, some of them hanging by a thread. Some of them may not be here next year. We're going to discover all that along this long journey, one roadside attraction at a time. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road, on the Mother Road.